Sean McDermott trusts the defense at the end of the game to come up with a play, and they do. How have you seen McDermott withstand any challenge this season?
Sean?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Just how have you seen him be resilient in the way that he coaches?
Yeah. No, I think he puts the trust in the players and the staff, and really we trust our process. You know, there's a way we're going to manage the game every week, and we follow it. And you know, there's something to that, right? You put the time in, and don't second guess yourself. You put the time in for a reason, you know, and we want that, right? Defensively, like put the game on us. Josh has certainly done plenty for us over my 9 years here, to where, you know, every once in a while we need to go ahead and take care of things for him and the offense, you know, so.
The word resiliency there, not just defensively, but that seems like it's kind of become the hallmark of this team in a lot of ways, whether it be battling through injuries or whether it be just in games, you know, comfortable in being down in games and having confidence that you can come back and find ways to win. What do you think has led to that resilience amongst this group?
I don't know. You know, I don't know if there's a lot of things, right? Like obviously the character of our players, and the leadership that we have, and I'll speak defensively. You know, obviously the offense, we know who the leaders are there. You know, is it the fact that the first game of the year was one where we had to be pretty resilient? Is it the messaging here? I couldn't pinpoint it. I wish we all could, because I think everybody would want that type of organization. But I mean, I think, like we always say, it starts with the people, you know, and that would be if we had the secret recipe. I think everybody would have that. Is that tie-dye?
Yeah.
I like it.
Joey Bosa was very disappointed in his play in that game yesterday. What do you want him to take away from that going into this week?
Don't let it happen again. Play the way we know Joey Bosa can play.
With him, we know he can get to the quarterback. He can still have pass rush moves. What is that balance, though, between they're going to run his direction a lot of times? How do you want him to approach that challenge, take it on, and really just, you know, strike that balance between getting to the quarterback and setting the edge?
Yeah, I mean, just the way we expect him to. That's it. The way we expect him to, and use our fundamentals in the run game. Do your 111th, and make sure whatever your job is, and it's any player, when you start to affect, you know, the result of the game, and I'm not necessarily saying this is him, but just overall, when you start to affect the outcome of the game, and whatever facet that is, just simply because, you know, you're not doing your job at a high level, it's pro football. Like, do your job at a high level. That's it. End of story. You know, so.
Sean told us that Jordan Poyer will be out this week with Jordan Hancock. Just how have you seen him come along this season?
Yeah, I mean, there's some good. I mean, typical rookie, right? There's some good, and there's some, you know, it's different. You look at a guy like Dion, and I'll say this because I played DB and coached DBs at one point, was, you know, DB, when you don't do your job as effectively as you need to, it's gonna be a lot more noticeable than a D lineman per se. Now, Dion, for instance, has had a lot more reps than Jordan Hancock has had, but you know, you've seen growth, and I will say this: from the time he got here till now, he's a completely different professional. And he's not quite the professional we need him to be yet, but I would say if his professionalism was at a 10%, you know, he's up in the 60s, 70s, you know, still a long way to go. And every day he's trying and learning new things from the veterans, and you know, just the attention to detail, which that'll come for him, you know, the sooner the better. But
where do you see the biggest strides in that professionalism?
I would say in his approach to preparing for the game of football. You know, if you talk to him, you know, there wasn't a lot of preparation. He's athletically, he's really good. He's a good football player. So he didn't have to quite do the things, even at an Ohio State, that's required at this level to be able to perform at a high level. And, you know, he's figured that out. He busts his butt. He's the guy I call on in defensive team meetings, and he knows he better have the answer, because if he doesn't, it's going to be a problem.
Is that just you doing that to him because he's a rookie, or is
Oh, I'm sure Joe and well, I call on all the rookies, but I like to pick on him. And then I'm sure Joe Dana does the same thing. And, you know, and then there's guys that help him. And it was a thing where it was more of a, I hate to say it like this, but a punishment for him to prove that he doesn't understand it yet. But now, like, he's the guy I call on, and I know he's going to have the answer to whatever I ask, which is that's the progression that you got to take to become a professional, you know. And we're going to get these guys at all different baselines when they come from college, and it's our job as coaches to get them to where they need to be.
How do you go into the potential return of Ed Oliver in terms of as a play caller and somebody that kind of divvies up as a group, as a staff, who plays and how much, what he was doing before the injury versus what he might be able to do now?
Are you saying before as far as production, or?
As far as how much you leaned on him?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we got to see where he's at and those type of things. And, you know, Ed's certainly a talented player. He's had some time off, so we just got to see where he's at.
And what have you seen from him as he's kind of been hanging out, like at practice and stuff
Yeah.
like that, kind of chomping at the
Yeah,
bit?
so some of these guys, when they go on IR, you know, they don't come around as much because they're more worried. Their focus is on their rehab. But you guys have seen it. Like, he can't stay away. Like, he's showing up at individual and all that. Then he's on the side doing, like, just little things and mimicking drills and all those. So Ed's a ball guy. Ed loves ball. Ed wants to play football. The way he practices shows you that he loves football. And so we'll see where he's at.
You had the chance to go against Denver last year in the playoffs.
Yep.
How would you, I don't know, describe their evolution, I guess, from that game to where they are today?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously Coach Payton's probably going to go down as one of the best play callers in the history of the game. You know, and the quarterback's certainly talented. I got a lot of respect for a guy like Cortland Sutton. You know, and they've added some pieces here or there. You know, I think you see that evolution-wise, you see how the quarterback, how Nix is, you know, more comfortable in their offense and those type of things. And I think he knows when to use his legs. He knows when to tuck it and go and all that. And he's certainly really dangerous in that manner. But it's just, you know, you see a maturation of the offense in general.
Coming into the season, you knew that you guys were going to need some younger guys to play, you know, depth roles, prominent roles, whatever it may be. But you've also brought in, you know, Shaq Thompson, Jordan Phillips, Jordan Poyer. It's a lot of experience from those three alone. How have they see the impact on the field when they've been out there?
Dane Jack.
All three of them. Yeah, I mean, how have they made you guys a better defense with stuff as simple as being in meetings, practices, just being around the rest of the group?
I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I would guess, maybe you guys know the answer. This is Jordan's 8th year here. Poyer. Jordan Phillips, 6th, 7th. And then Shaq's a little different because we do things a little differently than how they did them in Carolina. Well, and then, you know, obviously Sean left and Shaq stayed there for a while. But Shaq knows what it's supposed to look like at minimum and what the expectations are. So there's a lot of just, you know, their heads are above water when it comes to what we're looking for. Clearly above water. Their whole body might be above water, you know, where some people are still newer guys or whatever, even vets are trying to figure it out. And certainly they help ease that transition. whether it's schematically, culturally, fundamentally. They certainly help ease that transition. We can sit there as coaches and do it all we want, but when they're actually in the room and in the locker room, that's a big plus.
To be said. Sorry, go ahead.
Elena, you keep just getting interrupted.
DeMar had a full week of practice.
Yep.
Under his belt. How did he look?
He looked pretty good. We'll see what this week looks like and go from there.
What had it been like kind of seeing him work his way back?
I mean, it's DeMar working his way back is what everybody's used to, and certainly he's had some heavier adversity than most, and that'll help him not only in this when I say transition, this, working his way back to throughout his life. So if anybody's going to have the right frame of mind and do it the right way, it'll be DeMar.
Trey's story, we talked so much to you about it. We don't have to get into too much of the emotionals of it because I think you've kind of pushed that aside at times. But caliber of play right now, can you put into words how well he's playing? Because it does feel, especially over the last 6 to 8 weeks, it's looked like
Go ahead, say it.
old Trey.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's playing well. He's playing really well. And I don't know. I was trying to figure it out today exactly how many weeks it's been. I think there was a game or two in there that he would have wanted back, but before he's kind of gone on this little bit of a run here. But, I mean, Trevon White's playing pretty good football right now. Pretty dang good football. And I think he said it at the beginning of training camp. I'm at a training camp and I'm not working myself back, and I think that's a big deal. And he's been able in this season to get himself into a rhythm because he hasn't had to deal with a whole lot of things, and that's a credit to him. He takes care of himself. I know you guys know that, and he can really worry about football and not 100% his certain parts of his body being able to function. So it's really cool to see for me, especially people that have been around him. I mean, he's playing really well right now, and he puts in the work, and it's really, really cool to see.
Going back to Bosa, you were pretty straightforward with your message there of just play better. Is that a conversation that you have with him, or is that
That's to your point, Jay. It's a conversation that I'll have with any player that needs to play better. I mean, there's no reason not to be 100% honest, and the guys know what they expect. You guys said it. Joey said it already. He knows what we're expecting and what he needs to do and what his job is. And look, you're not going to bat 1,000. You need to bat it close to 1,000 as you possibly can. But he knows he needs to play better, and we advanced, and he's got another opportunity to play better. So that's what we need. That's what we're looking for, and he knows that, and he'll do it.
Bobby, I know that the offense had the ball, but we've been talking with Joe and Sean about that sequence at the end of the game about burning time off the clock in this situation.
Yeah.
Now, there's not a lot of time, but as a coordinator, do they ask you to weigh in what you think or anything like that?
No, but I'd love them to.
What was your thought as that's happening?
Whatever. I mean, any defensive coach would be like, oh, it's on the half-yard line, inch-yard line, whatever it was. You'd be like, oh, could we just maybe take a little time here, leave them a little less time, but it's whatever. We're good. We're prepared, we talk about having closers. We need closers, and certainly we had a closer, and we celebrate that. We had a closer in that game, and whatever present. You talked about resiliency earlier. Whatever presents itself, we've seen it. We've trained ourselves throughout the course of training camp, OTAs, even practice. We work quite a bit of 2-minute. So we're in all kinds of different situations, and based off the actual situation we're in, calls we're making, how we're defending the team we're going against, all those things. So it's whatever we need to do to win, we're on board.
When you guys are back at training camp and those situations come up, at night after the turkey burgers, are you guys kind of hanging around a table and just hypothesizing about, those situations if they do come up?
Yeah, that's the cool thing, and I'll say this, like Sean's really good about, like, I've learned so much being here just situationally. We have a couple guys on our staff that came from the college ranks, and they were like, God, you just don't think about this much situationally. And quite honestly, everywhere I've been, things happen and situations come up, and unfortunately it scars, right? Like your 13 seconds and all those type of things. Not bringing up old things, but those are the situations where you actually learn the most. And we do such a good job here talking about all those situations. You can't hit them all. I mean, there's new situations coming up in the NFL every week, and yes, we do sit around, and me and Joe have a really good relationship, and all, hey, what would you do offensively? Well, we do this. Okay, well, this is what we need. Hey, Joe, why are they doing this in this situation? And really cool to have that relationship with him, and very open, smart, and obviously Sean's a big part of that too. So give a lot of credit to Dennis Locke too. He, he's all over a lot of that stuff.
I wrongly assumed when I asked Joe the question that the official review, they take the touchdown off
Yep.
the board, which forces Jacksonville to burn a timeout, and
Yep.
it was helpful,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
To not score there. But he said he wasn't rooting for the touchdown to come off the board. Were you rooting for the touchdown to come off the board?
Plead the fifth. No, I mean, it did, but in the end, like, in the heart of, you might be sitting there as a defensive coordinator and be like, man, I wish he would have got tackled at the inch line, because at least, the timeout would have been used. That's what football is becoming, right? I think I don't know if it's accurate, but I believe most of the games so far in the playoffs have come down to the final 2 minutes. Certainly the Packers did, ours did, New England did not. And then, we are all watching them. What was the other one? Carolina. Carolina came down to the end, right? Stafford took him down the field. So you're preparing yourself, the whole time for these situations. And, it's cool to see your preparation. I'm sure for the players, it's cool to see their preparation in those situations. So it's twofold, right? I said it, like, we want to go out and we want to close the game, and the least amount of time with the least timeouts, if they're going to get the ball back, yeah, certainly. That's a lot easier situation to defend at times than having a lot of time, especially with the kicker than kick field goals from the 50-yard line.